So it works in a similar way to how you guys do your electrode testing in that,
Yeah.
eh? Because you do literally just narrow it down based on a current. This time you're narrowing it down based on feedback from the sensors,
Yeah.
but you're getting that information first rather than going, oh, we'll start there and bloody work our way back. You go, well, we'll start there where we know what the issue is.
Yeah, we've had warm roofs recently where we've tested them 3 times. First time was in construction, and everything we found was workmanship, a little bit of workmanship. We're talking minimal things, and some construction phase damage. Repaired those. Tested it 2 years later because it's sort of under investigation, and there's some movement going on. When it's dry, you can't see it, but when we wet it and the sunlight's hitting that, and it's like a contrast, it looked like it was a bed sheet being pulled around the fixed points on the roof, like anchor points and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. And so there was 6 breaches that appeared to be from movement, no workmanship stuff.
Yeah.
2 years later, 57 of those. So it had continually moved, hot, cold every day.
Fuck.
And then, but no leaks downstairs.
Yeah.
So that means that this warm roof is holding it all. Whatever amount of water is in there, it's holding it all. So that's the other thing we realised why this is good, is because if it doesn't leak downstairs, no one knows. And potentially the building is either hotter or colder during the months that it, summer, winter. So cooling and heating is more because this insulation isn't providing the inertness that it should.
Can your sensors actually measure how far or how much movement there is?
No, that would be really good.
Shit, imagine that, eh? Because you don't actually think that the roof would move to the extent that you can see, like the membrane like folding up like a bed sheet, like you say.
Yeah,
you sort of think it might be moving as one, not in like different.
You know when you
areas.
like pull through a bath and you pulled a pencil through and it leaves that ripple, or a boat from
like
distance.
a wake.
That's what it looks like. Really minor, but when it's dry, you can't see it. When it's wet, it looks like it's a tail off a boat.
Yeah. And that's fascinating, eh? Like, because I would have thought that everything would have moved, as one.
As one. Oh, it does all move as one, but say in the middle of the roof there is anchor points, which are like a little column.
Yeah.
So they never move. So the thing might be moving, and I think that rigid insulation, the expansion contraction, is like tiny. But what is that expansion when it's full of moisture? That is what. I don't know.
That's cool. It's good. And you guys must have that's one good thing about what you do. You must have so much data that you collect, and you start to see these trends, happening, and you can start to identify problems more easily.
It was actually the conversation about the warm roofs being an issue was this guy who was within refrigeration, and he talked about how people get rid of their fridge because say the actual fridge panel has got an air leak in it or whatever, and so by it being cold in the inside and warm in the natural air, that this thing accumulates its own moisture.
Right.
And then people put it out on the road front to go away. Yeah. But that gave it time to dry out. Oh, so people take it and they're like, hey, this fridge is fine. And then the same thing happens to them. So he was saying, this is what the warm roof thing, if this thing's not a bag airtight, this thing will breathe.